Greetings! In today's video, I'm taking a look at another palette by Woomer. This is that palette. As you can see, the packaging is pretty simple and matches my interests really well. It's a 36 color set in a white plastic palette. The wrapper is paper with a cat painting on the front and a chart of all the colors on the back. The chart has color number, name, pigment info, and other paint details like transparency and permanence. The palette itself is equally straightforward. It opens up on a nice swatch card, a tray with the 36 colors, 2 sponges, and 2 water brushes. The lid is intended as a mixing area and it has sections to make that much easier. If we take a look at the swatch card, I really like that it has all the paint info directly printed on the swatch card. The water brushes come with 2 different tips. One is a pointed tip that is substantially big. I would say it's a medium to large kind of brush. And the other one is a flat brush. I also got a small paper pack with the set. There's no label on the paper, but I asked and I was told that the paper is 300 GSM paper, so 140 pounds, 100% cotton, and it's a medium texture kind of paper. As usual, the first thing I did was to sit down and paint some swatches. I painted the swatch card, but I also set up some swatches in my sketchbook to see the colors on my current paper, the one I'm used to. Overall, I really like these colors. There's only one color, the iron yellow, that was a bit weak compared to what I prefer. However, we get a yellow ochre further down in the set that has a similar hue, but that's also much stronger. I will come back to talk about pigments and paints a bit later. After painting the swatches, I painted a little test painting. I used the paper they sent along with the set and taped off a border, like I usually do. The paper doesn't have an obvious side, so I picked the texture I like the most and used that side. My first paint pass is generally wet on wet to set up a general color palette, mood, and lighting. I noticed that there's 2 lines in the paper when I was painting the sky. They are noticeable mostly when the paint is wet. As the paint dries, the lines become a lot more faint. That might have been scratches that happened in transit or places where something pressed on the paper. I could probably have avoided that if I took a sheet of paper that wasn't at the top or the bottom of the pack. The paints layered really well. They were easy to use and re-wet easily. I quite like the color selection. I feel like it covers almost all bases. There's no cobalt teal kind of color, but that's the only one I can think of that I use regularly, and that's not in this set. I also quite like the plastic palette itself. It's a nice size, and the tray inside doesn't seem too flimsy. It looks like it would be flimsy, but it's much sturdier than I expected. I don't really use water brushes, but these seem nice, and I like that they included 2 different types of brush tips. Back to the painting. Once the paints were all dry, I was able to take off the tape without any big issue. It ripped off tiny bits of paper, but it's not really visible. The paper itself behaved really well. I have a few observations about the paints themselves. I noticed that most of them all have the same ratings on the chart, on the back of the packaging. Most of them are light fast, which is the middle rating on a list of 5. There's a few paints that have the rating that's above the middle one, so instead of 3 stars, they have 4 stars, but most of the paints have 3 stars for light fastness. They are also all semi-opaque, I think. All of them. I asked about that, and the person at Woomer told me that the composition of the colors on the packaging is accurate, as it contains barium sulphide, which affects the transparency of the colors. So we basically mark them as semi-opaque. I was really curious about this because I thought it was funny that the chart is so elaborate, but then all the paints use just a fraction of the chart's ratings. I also appreciate that the colors are not all labeled as extremely light fast. I've seen paints made from pigments that are actually not light fast being rated at the most light fast rating. I don't like when they do that. I much prefer to know the real rating of a color. That information is a lot more useful. On the topic of light fastness, 3 of the colors in the set were reactive under UV light. The rose red, not surprisingly, because it looks quite flashy. The violet color is a lot like the lilac color, I think it was, in their 9 color set, and it also lit up under UV light. white. It's a really nice color with a sort of duotone effect. Lastly, the Lotus Green, a purple, also had a reaction to the UV light. The titanium white is quite transparent for that pigment. I don't think it would be very useful for highlights and the such. If you look at my painting, you might notice that I tried to paint a cat in my painting like the cat on the packaging. Because why not? The cat on the packaging seems to be a digital illustration that replicates watercolor, which I thought was a bit of a bummer. So I figured I'd draw and paint her using the paints from the set. Overall, I had a great time painting with this set. I can definitely see myself using these paints again. I'll see about including travel brushes in it, since that's more my jam, and I should be able to find some that fit in the space for the water brushes. The color selection is quite balanced, in my opinion. We have a split primary within these colors, with lemon yellow, medium yellow, permanent red, rose red, ultramarine, and phthalo blue. I really like their partially neon, separating purple color. I also really like the deep green, the yellow ochre, and the sky blue in this set. The palette itself, the surface area for mixing in the lid is also a good size. I feel like you don't really need extra space for mixing. It's a nice palette, it's a nice size, it's affordable, and it is not precious. So you might feel more free to just do whatever you want using these paints. Also, it's the kind of set that you can bring on vacation with you and not worry about, losing it or something happening to it, which might make you more willing to actually take the paints out and paint with them while on a trip. So yeah, that's my review of this palette. I really like it. I think it's a really fun palette. I hope my review will allow you to figure out if this is the kind of set that would work for you or not. And if you've tried this particular palette, I would love to read your thoughts. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Woomer, for sending me this palette. I had a really great time painting with it. And see ya all in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.